Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Rolando, President of the National Association of Letter Carriers, and it's a pleasure to welcome all of you to the 2019 celebration of NALC's Heroes of the Year Awards. I want to thank you for taking the time from your busy schedules to join with us today in this celebration. This is one of the most special events that I have the honor of being part of each year, and from the people I've talked to, I hear that a lot in this room from several people. And simply put, I think the reason is because of the people that we're honoring, what they did to merit this recognition, and more importantly, what it says about letter carriers as a whole. And I anticipate that over the next several hours, you're going to see what I mean as you hear how each of the letter carriers being honored today acted in inspiring ways, often in courageous ways, to improve or even save lives along his or her route. The 2019 heroes performed a variety of feats, aiding an injured boy who had been run over by a lawnmower, saving a woman from a fire, helping rescue a teenage girl who had been abducted, saving two fellow letter carriers struck by an out-of-control car, rescuing an elderly man and his small dog from an aggressive pit bull, and setting up a foundation that has helped thousands of families that have a child facing serious medical issues. As I said, a wide variety of feats. But though their actions differed, they stemmed from the same factors: knowledge of the neighborhood they serve, dedication to the well-being of the residents in those neighborhoods, awareness of their surroundings, and a willingness to act when necessary, whatever the dangers. And that, by the way, is a pretty good summation of what letter carriers are all about. And because they're out delivering the mail 6 or even 7 days a week in every community across the vast country, they are often the first on the scene when action is needed. And as letter carriers see it, what they do is more than a job. It's a career in public service. They're proud of the work they do, providing Americans with the most affordable and efficient postal services anywhere, without a dime of taxpayer money, while delivering more than 40% of the world's mail. But there's a more personal side to the job as well, and it shows up in their commitment to the people and the neighborhoods that they serve. That spirit, that sense of caring are evident in each of the letter carriers that we're going to honor today. And we are, of course, immensely proud of what the 6 heroes being recognized did. But we are equally proud that their actions reflect the attitudes and the actions demonstrated every year by tens of thousands of their fellow carriers throughout the United States. On a daily basis, letter carriers assist people who need help. Perhaps they spot warning signs that an elderly patron is in distress, investigate, and then take appropriate action. Maybe they find a missing child or stop a crime in progress, or they figure out ways to improve the quality of life of someone on their route, or even of an entire community. And let me make one thing clear. They do not do these things because they are supermen or superwomen, but rather because they know the neighborhoods they serve, and so they know when something's not as it should be. They've watched the families grow over the years, and they care about their well-being and safety. In some cases, they act because almost 1/4 of letter carriers are wearing their second uniform, and situational awareness and protecting others are second nature to them. That's the context, that's the background and the big picture. But of course, individual letter carriers are the ones who put principles into practice by performing acts of heroism or kindness on their routes. Now, I can't wait to hear from our heroes about what they did and why they did it. But even as I say that, my guess is that they'll downplay what they did, minimize the risk involved to themselves, rebuff any notion that their actions were heroic. I say that for one simple reason. That's what they always do, and that's what they always say. Letter carriers, they tend to deny that their actions were anything out of the ordinary, while asserting that any of their coworkers would have done what they did. And that speaks to how we typically learn about the events in the first place. A police chief mentions the help provided. A grateful family writes a letter to the local newspaper. A neighbor tells the local postmaster what happened. We hardly ever learn about the event from the letter carrier who was involved. After taking action to save or help someone, they just continue delivering the mail and likely check up on the resident later on to see how things are going. The letter carriers gathered here today and the thousands of letter carriers who go beyond the call of duty every year make me proud to be a letter carrier and proud to lead the National Association of Letter Carriers, representing the nation's 200,000 plus city letter carriers and our over 90,000 retired letter carriers. So now a little more background. This is our 45th annual selection and recognition of Heroes of the Year. When it began back in 1974, NALC branches across the country wrote detailed reports of heroic deeds in articles for our monthly membership magazine, the Postal Record. These reports increased in frequency to the point where the NALC and the United States Postal Service agreed to hold a national recognition event. We still publish in the Postal Record stories of bravery and community service performed by our members. Over the course of a year, we highlight about 150 of these stories, as you can see in the book, A Year's Worth of Heroes, that is at your tables. This is a good time, before I forget, to thank Janessa of the NALC Communications and Media Relations Department for her dedicated work in writing these stories for the Postal Record month after month. Her communications co-workers, Claire, Rick, and Mike, also have contributed to the materials that you find on your tables today and on our website. Where are you guys? There you are, in the back. Thank you. The sheer number of potential honorees each year necessitates a rigorous selection process, and fortunately we have that. The NALC heroes are chosen by an independent panel of judges representing community service organizations, emergency public services, and the Department of Labor. This year's judges met privately earlier this year to review each story of heroism that was published in the Postal Record. And I'd like to thank our judges for all their work as they selected this year's winners. Richard didn't make it, did he? Okay. One of our judges is here, Christine Miller, who is the manager of labor engagement with United Way Worldwide. Thank you for coming, Christine. And then there's Richard Bowers, who is the fire chief, Chief Bowers from the Ocean City Fire Department in Ocean City, Maryland, and Christopher Godfrey, who is the chairman of the Employees Compensation Appeals Board from the Department of Labor. Those are our judges. But before we begin, I guess we already did, but I'd like to recognize some distinguished guests and thank them for joining with us today to celebrate. Let me start with my good friend Rich Trumpka, president of the AFL-CIO. I want to recognize from the Postal Service David Williams, COO and Executive Vice President of the Postal Service, and Doug Tolino, the USPS Vice President for Labor Relations. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to ask David to come up and say a couple words, but I just wanted to take a moment, if I could. There's a lot of people from our postal family here, and this has been a very sad week for our postal family. We lost a very close colleague who was the manager of labor relations over at the Postal Service. I know Alan Moore, this is one of his favorite events. I think he may have missed one in the last 18 years. And we lost Alan last week after a short illness, and I'd just like to recognize Alan and take a moment of silence if we could. Okay, thank you. David, would you come up and speak a little bit? No more than an hour, as we rehearsed.
Thank you, Fred. Good afternoon. It is indeed an honor to be here today, and let me thank Fred and the entire NALC leadership team. I appreciate the invitation. And I am pleased to be here today to give well-deserved recognition to the men and women of the Postal Service for the positive impact that they make each and every day in cities, towns, and communities across the country. And it has been said that whenever and wherever there has been a need, Postal Service employees step up. And time again, it's our letter carriers who lead the way. Letter carriers deliver more than mail. They are the face of the Postal Service. They have an unmatched sense of service, and they bleed postal blue. In addition to being public servants and trusted friends of the community, letter carriers care about our customers and communities and demonstrate on a daily basis how we keep America connected through more than just the mail. They keep a watch out for our customers, young and old, in rural, suburban, and city communities. They help law enforcement and firefighters keep our communities safe. And they are often the first on the scene of accidents or medical incidents and help those involved survive or just stay calm until emergency personnel arrive. And I am honored to be here today to help recognize a few of these letter carriers as NALC Heroes of the Year. The spirit of heroism and compassion that we celebrate today is widespread and deep-rooted throughout the Postal Service. Indeed, hardly a day goes by when we do not hear stories about the heroism, compassion, and service of postal employees. Heroes come from every area, every district throughout the country. They help year-round, whether it's assisting to keep someone safe in the cold of winter or in the extreme heat of summer. Our employees exhibit heroic efforts to collect food and clothing for the needy, donate time and money to charity, and give their blood and bone marrow to save lives. And they respond in times of need, anytime with heroism. Heroes respond to emergencies such as fires, car accidents, medical crises, those with our customers and co-workers, crime prevention, helping lost children, and even finding pets. You may know that the Postal Service has a PMG Heroes program. It's in its 16th year. So far in 2019, we have recognized 207 employees who've had a positive impact on their communities. Both the PMG Heroes program and the NALC Heroes of the Year, now in its 45th year, remind us that heroism doesn't happen just because you happen to be on the scene and do the right thing in the moment. Heroism is about character, will, and a commitment to action even in the face of great adversity. Our heroes represent the country at its very best. Many are reluctant to be called heroic, but when they go above and beyond the call of duty in service to another, that's precisely what they are. Thank you for the work you do each and every day to deliver for America and for the extraordinary, selfless acts you have performed. So congratulations again to all of our heroes, and thank you to all postal employees for all that you do every day. Thank you very much.